Hi, hello, welcome to Make Techie. Learn as engineer, teach as champion. First of all, I would like to thank my family for their continuous support and encouragement for creating these kinds of technical videos in a public domain. And I would like to thank my professor R. Surendran from Government College of Technology, Coimbatore for igniting me a spark of creating these kinds of technical videos in the public domain. And I would like to thank Almighty for my good health and my broad mind. I would like to thank my friends, followers, my dear students, and subscribers. Today's topic of interest is motion of projectile. First of all, what is meant by a projectile? If any object or any body is thrown at an angle with certain velocity and acceleration, those body is called as an projectile. For an example, in a cricket, a fielder from a long end to the bowler, if he throw, then the ball is said to be an projectile because it is thrown at certain angle and with an velocity as well as the acceleration. That is why it is called as an projectile. So this is a simple example of a projectile. If any body we want to throw in a space or in a free space, it is called as an projectile. Generally, with this principle, all the projectiles and the satellites are being propelled into the space. So this topic is very much important. First, I would like to give an introduction of motion of a projectile. Here, in the motion of a projectile, the height, range, and time are important parameters. Since the projectile n is defined as an any object having a motion with initial velocity subjected to acceleration due to gravity only, it is called as an projectile motion. In the projectile motion, the acceleration in the horizontal direction is zero, whereas the vertical direction there is a both acceleration as well as the deceleration. Here you have to understand that when an object is thrown from the bottom from one point to another point, so this is called as a range where it attains a motion like this. So this topmost point is called as a height, and time taken to this is the initial velocity 1. So this is the final position, initial velocity and initial position 1 and final position 2. Time taken to travel all the way to 1 to 2, which is called as a time of flight. Here we want to understand one thing: the energy of a projectile body. Say here the total energy, so total energy of the projectile is always constant. In the point 1 it is having more potential energy, and once if the projectile started to travel here to here, then the potential energy will get reduced and the kinetic energy is getting more and more. When it goes there, again the kinetic energy becomes zero and potential energy becomes maximum. So this is the positive motion and this is the negative motion. So negative towards the ground, therefore again it will becomes more kinetic energy and less potential energy. Once it reaches the ground, again it having potential energy and the kinetic energy, the velocity of at the point 2 will become 0. So this is our understanding about the projectile motion. Here we are interested to get the formulas of the maximum height and maximum flight, time to flight. and range. Here, the height is very important because this is the formula derived from the equation of motion v is equal to u plus at, where v is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, and a is the acceleration, t is the time. From this, we get the equation. We know the equation v is equal to root of 2gh, where h is equal to v square by 2g. If we substitute this in the formula, we get the u, instead of u, the u component is having both horizontal as well as the vertical component. So this is the u, this is a tangent of the projectile. It is having both horizontal as well as the vertical component. we are we want to measure the height, therefore the vertical component is taken to picture, that is u sine theta or u sine alpha, whatever the angle we can say. So from this formula we know that for instead of u we can put u sine alpha plus gt, where already we are having 2g is in the formula of h. Therefore the maximum height will becomes h is equal to u square sine square alpha divided by 2g, where the range is u square sine 2 alpha divided by g, and time of the flight can derived using t is equal to 2u sine alpha divided by g. So here the vertical component is sine alpha and the horizontal component is cos alpha. If the range in the horizontal direction, if we are interested to find, then range is equal to time into distance, where distance is the horizontal component. Therefore t into u cos alpha, where we already found what is meant by t, that is 2u sine alpha divided by g into u cos alpha, where there is a u here and here. Therefore u square into 2 sine alpha cos alpha divided by g, where 2 sine alpha cos alpha is nothing but sine 2 alpha. Therefore by this equation the range will come into picture. Whereas if the horizontal range if the horizontal range is maximum when the alpha will becomes 45 degree, then 2 alpha becomes 90 degree. We know that sine 90 is 1. Therefore when the maximum range will produce at the alpha is at 45 degree, therefore it becomes u square by g. And here I would like to give an example of the velocity of the vertical component varies uniformly due to the gravity, because if we make a ball thrown all the way to the ground to another fielder, it will travels like a projectile motion. Generally this motion will always in the thing parabolic height, parabolic shape in the nature. Therefore here the energy, the horizontal acceleration is always constant, where the vertical acceleration is the change of display velocity with respect to time. Here when we thrown initially it is having more velocity, and step by step it get reduced, and there is zero velocity at the top, and again the velocity is getting pick up. Therefore this period is called as an acceleration period, and this period is called as an deceleration period. Okay, so with this information I would like to close the projectile motion. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. and I will put a separate video for your doubts. Thank you. Thank you all.